Hey, Leon, how are you?
I'm doing just fine, Julie. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I wanted to ask you about some things I've been hearing.
Sure.
Presidential budget cuts for fiscal year 2012 and the threats that poses to our 9 cold water fish hatcheries and what that means to us in Arkansas. And I understand you are the go-to man, so tell me what you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, most of the information that I have received comes from the Fish and Wildlife. Mm-hmm. So it's the information that I have is pretty much a direct source of communication.
Right.
Yes, what you just said is true, that the 2012 budget does not include the operating cost, which is like $6.3 million for 9 mitigation hatcheries. Mitigation hatcheries mean that they are basically hatcheries that support dams that were put in by the Corps of Engineers. When the dams went in, the warm water species below the tailwaters could not survive, so they moved away. So in order to mitigate it, the Corps of Engineers built the hatcheries, of which North Fork and Greers Ferry both are mitigation hatcheries. And they provide trout. And of course, trout being a cold water species, they survive well. So that's what the mitigation is concerned. And the U.S. Fish and Wildlife budget in 2012 does not include funding, operational money, for these 9 mitigation hatcheries. And I might just mention 6 of them are in the southeast.
And if a dam was built today that annihilated a warm water species, would ongoing mitigation automatically be part of the deal?
I couldn't really say. I couldn't really address that. I do know this, and this is kind of recent information. Mm-hmm. Yes, we are a mitigation hatchery, no question about it. Mm-hmm. This hatchery was built in 1957, as there were a number of them, Greers Ferry and so forth. They're also built in the 60s and so forth. At that particular time, there was no legislation that forced or required that mitigation take place. Okay. Mitigation did take place, but it was not a resolution, it was not a law that said to happen. Mm-hmm. In 1970, I believe it was, they actually came to an agreement. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife and the Corps of Engineers came to agreement that the Corps of Engineers would provide mitigation for the loss of these warm water species. So that's what happened. If we had a new hatchery or new dam put in today, I think it would be very hard. I think it would be a clean slate and something would have to be negotiated out. I'm sure the intent would be there, but I really couldn't say for certain.
Well, the concept of mitigation would seem to be something that would continue in perpetuity, right? I mean, our bass are never coming back, so one would think our trout would be forever provided for, to my simple mind.
I'll put it this way. The state of Arkansas and the citizens of Arkansas and the visitors to Arkansas and to our trout fisheries, that's what we expect.
Right.
That's what we expect.
Okay, so what is going on with these budget cuts?
Well, essentially, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife has taken the money out of their budget. And again, I need to emphasize this. This is operational money. The Corps of Engineers actually has put in some money in their budget. Now, that is not a long-term commitment, and it is only partially funded. Mm-hmm. It would only, I think it's $3.7 million, and it would take $4.6 million to fully fund it. So it's about a 20% shortfall. So the problem is, if it goes through under those numbers, at least through 2012, the hatcheries would be funded, but only probably 80% funded.
So we need $6.3 million to fully fund all 9 hatcheries.
We need all of it in order to fully fund it. And about the only recourse as far as the hatcheries is concerned is basically production cutback.
And don't we have an additional problem because we don't get our eggs from here? So even if Arkansas somehow magically kicked in the shortfall, we still have a problem with getting eggs because most of our eggs come from one of the other hatcheries in question, which happens to be the Irwin hatchery. Is that not right?
That is correct. That is
Okay.
correct.
So this is, serious to Arkansans. Now, I heard some numbers, Leon, that were just astounding to me. For every, referring to, of course, Greers Ferry and this hatchery, for every dollar of operational budget spent, the Greers Ferry hatchery puts back in total economic output $113, and this hatchery puts back $95 for every dollar of operational budget spent. So, to my simple mind, it seems absolutely insane that this is even on the table. So what do we do?
Well, first of all, let me give you some real honest-to-God numbers.
Okay.
The North Fork Hatchery, their operating budget is $952,000.
Right.
The economic impact is over $90 million. So
Right.
again, you're talking about roughly $95 for every dollar that's actually spent.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, just in tax money alone, there's like $2.8 million in federal taxes. In other words, that from all the money that's spent regarding the trout fishing industry, $2.8 million goes back to the federal government. So again, they're spending less than $1 million. They're getting almost $3 million. The state of Arkansas gets almost a like amount, about 2.8. So you're getting somewhere around $5.5 million return on about a $1 million investment. That is hard dollars. That's hard dollars. That's tax dollars. That's not economic impact. That's tough dollars. So the question is, what do we do about it?
Yes.
Well, first of all, I want to kind of give credit where credit is due. The Arkansas House of Representatives, they have passed a resolution to basically to support the full funding and a permanent solution for the hatcheries. And that resolution has gone to the U.S. House of Representatives, and it will be read into the federal record.
Great.
And it also has gone a copy to the president. The Arkansas Senate has done likewise, and it will also go to there. So from a state point.
I was just going to say, for those of you who want to read those on the website, HR 1014 and SB 8. Sorry, go on.
No, that's quite all right. So from a state standpoint, resolutions have already been made. Basically, a commitment from the people, the voice of the people of Arkansas, to the U.S. Congress that this needs to be corrected. These hatcheries need to be fully funded, and that they need to be a permanent solution in place.
And that's because we've permanently had something taken away from us, which was our world-class bass fishery here for our specific example.
Yes,
and that's
correct.
why it should be, because I've had some people ask me that. Well, why should it be? Because something was permanently taken from us, so something needs to be set in place permanently to carry us on. And tourism being the second largest business, in the state of Arkansas and just our 5-county area, the Ozark Mountain region, we have something like $300 million of tourism-related revenue generated each year, and over half of that has something to do with trout. So it's a huge impact to our area, and to our tourism industry, and basically to the Arkansas culture and way of life. So we really need to get involved and get a little upset about this, folks, and do something about it.